I didn't plan to start my morning listening to my husband destroy whatever image of him I had left. But there I was, frozen in the hallway while his voice slithered through the crack of the kitchen door. "She finally messed up, Mom. Lost her job. I told you she'd crumble eventually." My hand tightened around the coffee mug, not because of the lie I'd fed him the night before, but because of the truth he was revealing now. He wanted me broken. And that was the moment everything shifted. I used to think love was a slow, steady warmth. I used to think he was safe. I remember the first time we met, library steps, late autumn, the kind of breeze that carried hope in it. He'd offered me his jacket, smiled with that soft, careful charm that made me believe he understood gentleness. Back then, I didn't see the calculation behind his eyes. I mistook control for attention, criticism for concern. Love makes illusions look like devotion. It's embarrassing how long I clung to them. But illusions don't survive pressure. They crack, they split, and eventually they shatter clean enough to cut you. The first fracture appeared 6 months ago, a sudden coldness, a clipped tone. His eyes lingering with disappointment even when I wasn't speaking. At first I blamed stress, his deadlines, his mother's constant meddling. But then came the comparisons, then the distance in bed, then the quiet sighs when I walked into a room. One night I caught him scrolling job listings, not for himself, but for me, like I was a burden he needed offloaded. And something inside me cooled. Not sadness, not anger, just clarity. When I got promoted, I felt the celebration rise in my chest, then stop. It didn't feel right to hand good news to someone rooting for my failure. So I crafted a test, small, precise. "Honey, I lost my job." I watched the relief bloom on his face, watched it twist into satisfaction. "You're useless," he snapped, "worthless." The words didn't even sting, not anymore. They simply confirmed the diagnosis I already suspected. He was rotten all the way through. So I did what any woman with a brain and a breaking point would do. I shifted. Quietly, strategically. I stopped reacting, stopped explaining, stopped giving him the emotional fuel he'd been feeding on. Instead, I started gathering bank statements, phone records, screenshots of messages between him and his mother, the ones where they called me deadweight, the ones where he practiced belittling me like it was a sport. I met with an attorney the next morning, not a cheap one either, the kind who takes notes like he's carving gravestones. We crafted a plan as sharp as a scalpel. In our state, marriages are equitable only if both parties contribute equally. And my husband? Well, he hadn't paid a bill in months. His account was drowning in debt. Mine was pristine and stacked. The imbalance worked beautifully in my favor. But information alone wasn't enough. I wanted precision, timing, the kind of revenge that doesn't shout, but whispers, and is still heard for years. So I waited, watched, listened, which leads me back to the kitchen, to his voice, to the final crack of illusion splintering fully apart. "She won't last long," he whispered. "When she breaks, I'll be the one making decisions." I stepped into the doorway, calm, steady, a woman who already won, but hadn't revealed the scoreboard yet. He froze. The phone slipped from his hand. What did you hear?" "Enough," I said, "and more than enough before today." I placed the folder on the counter, financial records, attorney letters, copy of the settlement draft. He flipped through them, each page draining the color from his face. You're divorcing me?" "No," I replied softly. "I'm freeing myself. The divorce is just the paperwork attached to your consequences." He sputtered, reaching for excuses, stress, misunderstandings, love. But when a man has enjoyed your suffering, his pleas don't sound like remorse. They sound like fear. And I didn't mind letting him sit with that. In the end, he left the house that night with nothing but a duffel bag and the realization that he had misjudged me catastrophically. The court sealed the rest of the victory. He lost the house, the savings. Even his mother stopped defending him once my attorney presented the recordings. Amazing how quickly loyalty evaporates under legal pressure. Now, when I walk through my quiet home, I don't feel lonely. I feel restored, steady, untouched by the chaos he tried to pour into me. People say revenge is poisonous. Maybe it is. But sometimes poison is exactly what drains the infection. And as for him, he taught me something valuable. If someone wants to see you broken, let them. Then let them watch while you rise higher than they ever imagined, and walk away while they choke on the dust of their own downfall.